Alrighty, hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm still Cryptic Coil at the moment. Yeah, welcome to my channel. I hope everybody's having a happy new year so far, and I hope everybody's having really positive feelings about how their 2026 is going to be. I know I'm trying to stay positive and, focus on accomplishing my goals, and I hope you're there too in your life. All right, so in today's video, I'm going to do a book review. That's a 2026 goal of mine. I want to do more book reviews. I want to be a real booktuber, not just a book hauler. But anyway, the book that I'd like to talk about is The Band by Carmen Adams. I actually own two copies of it. I own this copy, which is my collector's copy, and then it was in such good condition I didn't have the heart to read it and mess it up, so I got on eBay and I bought a really beat up copy of it. And I did read this book, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that. This is going to be a spoiler-free review to the best of my ability, because I hear that some people are like really hardcore. Like there's a YouTuber named Sean Stevenson, and I know that he doesn't even read the back of the books because he thinks that the back of the books gives the books away at times. And one of my coworkers who's a reader and she watches some booktube channels, she doesn't read the back of the books either. She doesn't read the synopsis on the back either, again, for spoilers. Okay, that's a little too much for me, okay? I understand that, nobody likes to have something that they're interested in reading or watching spoiled for them, but that is a bit too far. Okay, I watch trailers, I read the synopsis on the back of the books, so again, I'm going to do my best to avoid spoilers here, but I'm going to try to be reasonable about it, and I ask that you understand that I'm making that effort, and I'm asking you to make an effort to be reasonable as well. Because I know that in the past, some of my spoiler-free book reviews might not have been quite as spoiler-free as they should have been. So, all right. With that being said, I just want to show you the cover one more time. So that's what the cover looks like. Again, the author is named Carmen Adams. The title of the book is The Band. This book was published by Avon, and it does say Why Horror right there on the spine. The book came out in 1994. I first found out about this book when I was watching one of Cameron Chaney's videos. He had a video titled something along the lines of my rarest YA horror novels, and he showed this one, and I just really liked the cover, and I liked the title, The Band, so it made me really want to acquire this book and see what it was all about. Then I got on eBay, and I found that there was only one copy for sale on eBay, and it was going for $300. And I just was not in the mood to spend $300 on a YA paperback book. So I kind of forgot about it, and then a year later, I decided to look into it again. And they actually no longer had they did still have the $300 copy, but they also had like a $30 copy or something, plus shipping. And so I ended up pulling the trigger on that, and that became my collector's copy. So then when it arrived in my mailbox and I opened it, I was like, this is a really cool looking book cover. The book is in like mint condition. I don't want to mess it up. So I got back on to see if there were any more copies, and I found one for like $10, $11 plus shipping, and they advertised that it wasn't in the best of conditions, and so I just pulled the trigger on that one too, and this became my reading copy. All right, so let me see. Is there a tagline on the front? There is. And the tagline on the front reads, "Creatures of the night, hear their music and follow them into darkness." That's the tagline on the front. Then on the synopsis on the back reads, No one knows their game. They call themselves the band, but they don't play music. They play games, evil games. They want you to join them, dressed in black, always together, looking for recruits, luring the unsuspecting with eyes that see into the soul, offering friendship to all who will come and play with them. Beware of their game, for those who are tempted to play will play in the darkness for all eternity. Okay, so great looking cover on the front, great sounding synopsis on the back. Am I right? Okay, that is why I wanted this book so bad. And so I read it, and what I can tell you is that this book is only like 133 pages long. So it's short. I think I killed it in like a day and a half. And first, I'm just going to kind of describe the plot a little bit, and I'm going to try not to give too much away. I'm going to make this very swift. All right, it's basically about a new girl, or a girl named Megan. She's like in 10th grade, 10th or 11th grade. I can't remember off the top of my head. She moves from Colorado to a small town in California called Blue Mesa. And she has to start over at a new high school, which I found very relatable because I moved around quite a lot as a child. And I know how it feels to have to start over. So I immediately started liking the character and identifying with her. I just felt like she was very relatable. And she starts going to a new high school, and she makes a few friends right off the bat. She becomes interested in a guy right off the bat, and then she finds that there's this mysterious group of like attractive looking teenagers slash young adults, and they're always dressed in black, and they drive a black Camaro, and the kids at her high school refer to that group as the band. And she becomes like immediately intrigued with them, and a lot of the friends that she makes at school who've told her about the band, they're pretty intrigued with the band as well. They know the names of the members of this group known as the band, but the people in the band, they don't talk to just anybody. They don't hang out with just anybody. They don't accept just anybody into their group. And that makes them even more alluring and intriguing and mysterious. So Megan starts talking to a guy right off the bat. And so Megan notices this guy that she's developing a pretty serious crush on. And at the same time, the band is noticing him. And the band is interested in recruiting him into their group. And let's just say maybe, and I forgot what this guy's name was. I wrote it down. I took notes in a little spiral notebook. And I took notes in a little spiral notebook, but I forgot to bring it with me. And I don't remember what her love interest's name was. Oh well, I don't want to waste any time looking for it. But let's just say that if this guy is kind of interested in joining the band, but him and Megan may or may not be a package deal. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that. All right, so I feel like I'm kind of done describing the plot. And there might have been a few extra details in my description than the synopsis that I read on the back of the book, but this is all like, first couple of chapter type of stuff, and I don't want to give any more away. I want to leave some meat on the bone for you just in case you decide to find an affordable copy out there and decide to pull the trigger and read it for yourself. Now I want to kind of go into what I think about the book and how I rate it. So When I read this book, I basically felt like I was reading Twilight. Okay, because based on that description that I gave you, I could have easily have been talking about Twilight. Okay, instead of Megan, you have Bella Swan. You know, she moves from one state to a new state, small town, finds an intriguing group of mysterious and attractive teenagers slash young adults. In this book, it's the band. In Twilight, it was the Cullens. So it's pretty similar to Twilight in that way. Let me ask you a question. Based on the synopsis on the back of the book, and based on the looks of these characters on the cover of the book, do you think or do you not think that these people are or are not or might be or might not be vampires? Because when I read or when I saw this book, I looked at these kids and just automatically assumed that they were vampires. And what I can tell you is that the main character, Megan, spends the majority of the book wondering that herself. Okay, what's her name? Not Kristen Stewart. Bella Swan from Twilight. She had very similar questions about Edward and the Cullens, right? So yeah, this book, it obviously came out long before Twilight, but just reading it, I felt like, wow, you know, this is pretty similar. I bet you anybody who enjoyed Twilight would enjoy this book. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether these people are or are not vampires. What I can tell you is that the answer did not disappoint me. And another thing that I can tell you is that I learned something new. I learned something pretty cool when the reveal came. And now it makes me want to watch a certain movie starring a certain A-list actor. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so I did feel like this book was, you know, super similar to Twilight in that way. Another thing that I really liked about the book was, you know, due to the fact that, you know, it's California, which is the southwestern portion of the United States, which is where I live. I don't live in Cali, but I do live in the southwest portion of the United States. Whereas in Twilight, it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and they have a lot of forest out there. And so in Twilight, you spent some time in the forest and the trees and all that. Well, in the Southwest, you don't exactly have a whole lot of forest, but you do have a whole lot of mesa and desert. And one of the cool things that I thought about the band was that there were some interesting scenes out in the mesa that may or may not have been occult-like. I'm going to leave it at that. There were some really cool scenes. There was some caves, kind of a hidden swimming hole, and there was a really spicy scene in that hidden swimming hole that I kind of enjoyed. And so overall, I did like the book. There are some things that I didn't like about the book. For instance, I just explained to you how short the book was. The book is only 133 pages long, so it's a very short book, which means a lot of story had to get told in a very short amount of time. So at times, there were certain parts of the book where I felt that it was rushed. Like some of those more interesting scenes that took place in the mesa, I honestly wish that they could have been longer and a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more cinematic. There was kind of the like you're building up towards the climax and you're expecting to have the final fight. by the time you get there, you realize, oh wow, there's only a few pages left in the book. Like they better handle this like, soon. And I really hope that it delivers. I hope it leaves me feeling satisfied. And I mean, you have to get there one way or the other, right? And so when you do finally get there, it just happens so fast. Like, oh wow, that's all it took, huh? Like that's all it took to ignite the sparks that the climax needed to get ready for the final showdown, or whatever you want to call it, at the end. And so I felt like that was a little bit rushed. Then you finally get down to the last few pages and you know that it's going to end. Like, this book is practically over, but I'm still waiting for the final punch, and you get it. And, it's more satisfying than not, but again, it was just so rushed, and the setup for it was it's like, man, if this book needed to be a little bit longer, I could have read a few more pages. Like, you didn't have to rush through it. Like, instead of giving me 133 pages, you could have probably given me 140, to kind of make this ending a little bit more digestible than what it was. But that's not how the author handled it. The On the last page, something was spoken, alluding to the fact that the main character was going to live with an unfortunate consequence that was actually hilarious, because it reminded me of a certain episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, that I saw when I was a kid. It was where I don't remember which episode it was. I just remember these kids had to fight a monster in their own house while their parents were out having dinner, like on a date to get away from the kids. And they defeat the monster, but the TV had exploded, and the monster's defeated, and the parents had just pulled into the driveway. And you're sitting there thinking like, well, I'm glad the kids survived and I'm glad they won, but as soon as mom and dad walk in the door, they're going to see that the TV's been exploded, and it's like, good luck explaining that to mom and dad. There was something kind of similar that happened in this book, something that I didn't see coming, but I was like, oh, yeah, wow. And then I thought to myself, good for you, Carmen Adams. Well done. That was interesting. And so what I think about her writing style based on this one book, I think that she's a good writer. I think she's a good storyteller. She did paint a lot of imagery in my mind, a lot of vivid imagery. And that's why I enjoyed this book as much as I enjoyed it. But she left me wanting more. In other words, like, imagine having something to eat and it's so good, but it's not filling. Now, if you had more, it would be fine, but that's kind of how I feel about this book. I'm like, you know what? I wish it was longer. I really do. Because I would have liked for everything to have transitioned more organically and not feel so rushed. But I'm satisfied with the story that I got told. I just wish it didn't feel so rushed. And I do think it's cool that I learned something new when I read this book. And I think that I think that they were a very intriguing cast of characters. I had a lot of fun on Megan's adventure. So what am I gonna rate this book? I'm gonna rate it a 4 out of 5, 4 stars out of 5 stars. The reason why I'm rating it so high is because I really bought into the story that I was told. I enjoyed the story that I was told. The imagery that came to my mind while my eyes were on the pages of the book. I mean, it was fairly cinematic for me. Reading this book felt like a fairly cinematic experience, and I loved the imagery that this book conjured in my mind. I found the main character to be very relatable because I know how it feels to, move when you're in middle school and then move again when you're in high school and start over that late in your, childhood. And I was just as intrigued with these characters in the band as much as Megan was. And when you read the synopsis on the back, it says they call themselves the band, but they don't play music, or they just don't play music. They play games, evil games. Well, there's actually a reason why they're called the band, and that was an interesting reveal. Like, I was like, man, like, this is getting good. I'm wanting more. So I really enjoyed the story and the contents of the book. It's just that it felt too rushed, and it left me not feeling as full as I should have felt by the time it was done. And that's why I can't give it 5 stars. But I think that if the book had been longer, and if the problem of the transition points in the plot weren't so rushed, and if they happened more organically and less rushed, I think that this could have easily been a 5 star book for me. And I also think that despite its similarities to Twilight, I think that this would actually make a really good movie. I really do. And so it kind of makes me eager to read more from Carmen Adams, because Carmen Adams actually has a point horror book called The Claw. And I have 2 copies of that one as well. I have a mint condition American cover, and then I have a really beat up British cover. So the beat up British cover will be my reading copy, and so I do look forward to reading that in order to enjoy more of Carmen Adams's writing. And the Claw, which again is a point horror novel, not an Avon Flair novel. The Claw is thicker, and so something tells me that whereas I might have enjoyed the story of the band even more, just because, I mean, this cast of characters was just so compelling. I bet you I'm probably going to be more satisfied and feel more full if I read The Claw, just based on me being introduced to her writing style with this one book. Okay, however, at the same time, since I haven't read The Claw and I've never seen a review on it before, what concerns me is that I gave this book, despite my problems and my complaints with the book, I still gave it 4 stars just based on my enjoyment of the story. But it could have been a 5 star book had it been longer and had it not felt like such a rushed story to me. If the Claw, if the story doesn't compel me quite as much as this one, it might not get 4 stars. It might get 3 stars, 3.5. I mean, and gosh, I don't want to be or pessimistic, but 2 star. I mean, who knows? But what ultimately, I think the point is that my reading experience with this novel right here makes me hungry for more of her writing. And right now on eBay, I'm watching another one of her books. I might pull the trigger on it when I get paid, but I think it's called like Night of the Vampire or Song of the Vampire, and there's like a sexy vampire woman in a leather jacket on the cover, and I'm like, wow, that's a great looking cover, and so I'm probably gonna buy that book too. But I definitely need to read The Claw. So again, here it is, the band. Again, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked the story. Again, the imagery that conjured in my mind, it was just fantastic and vivid. I just wish that it didn't feel so rushed. And I do look forward to enjoying some more of her writing. I'll probably start next with The Claw, her point horror movie. And let me know if you guys have ever read this book. Let me know if you own a copy of it. I don't know if there's any copies available for sale on eBay right now. I don't know what they're going for. But what I can tell you is that if the affordable copies that are out there now, if there are any, if they get bought up, you can expect the one remaining copy on eBay to escalate in price. Inflation with this one is real, and I really think it's just because of the cover. I really do. But yeah, just let me know in the comment section whether or not you've read this book before, what you thought of it. And because I refrained from, I made a really strong effort to refrain from giving spoilers. Like, I wanted to leave you some meat on the bone. And so I refrained from providing more details. Let me know if you'd actually like for me to do a spoiler book review. And then if I do a spoiler book review, I can just tell anybody, hey, if you don't want this thing spoiled, turn it off now, go back and watch my non-spoiler review. I think that could be an option. But just let me know what you guys think, okay? I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and turn it off now. But thank you guys for watching. Horns up. Peace out. Oh, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week on Shadyside Libraries channel with Sunnyvale Reject, where we will discuss and review Dream Date by Sinclair Smith. All right, thanks for watching. Horns up. Peace out.